Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Live. How are you all doing? I'm Steve Leahy. What's up? Hopefully you're doing well. Yeah, we got a good one tonight. I got so much going on. I had a few projects that I started and never finished. So I thought I would let you guys decide what we're going to do tonight. So what I did was, because YouTube will do this, I started a poll. So on the top of that chat box, you can click on that poll. It is only for tonight, unfortunately. So after we do this, it's not going to be up there anymore. But you can tell me what you'd like to do. So we have three things going on that you can choose from. Number one is the airbrush holder that we started last week or 2 weeks ago. This is from Spray Gunner. If we do this, we're going to do the skull tonight. And that'll be a lot of fun. So ooh, over there. So yeah, I plan on having like underwater moss growing on it and stuff like that. So that's number one. Number two is, I gotta look, I think it's a turkey. Either way. Number two, we'll say is the turkey, but whatever it is on the list. The turkey is the one we started back in Thanksgiving of last year. I really like the way this is coming out, but I haven't had enough time to really start, to do more on it. So we can work on this one tonight if you'd like. That's what the turkey is. And finally, another one that I started and never got anywhere on is the mate to the, or the other one in the 8x10 series. This one is of the C8 Corvette. C8? C7? C8, I think. Well, in any event, it's Corvette. And yeah, so I started this one, never really finished it, so we can work on this. I would have no idea what we're doing on this one or the turkey, but I'll figure it out pretty fast if you wanna get in on that. I only have one 543 to show you. I'm feeling a bit under the weather, and I only got one done, but it's a good one. So hopefully it'll work. So big, huge thanks right out of the gate to the people who gave super thanks last week. Brian Moore, Ryan Joe Baggy, Gary Shees, and Robert O'Malley. You guys, it means the world to me when you do what you do. Also, a lot of people have taken advantage of the sale that's going on right now. I have my summer sale going on right now. I want to do this. Yeah, I'll post it all fancy for you. So the summer sale is going on. That is 40% off everything. And all you got to do is type in summer 25 in the code box, and it'll automatically take 40% off everything that's in your cart. So it's not just like off of one item or a specific item, it's off of anything you want to pick up. So now is the time. This goes for only 2 weeks, so it just goes till the end of the month. So you want to get a hold of that. And even if there isn't anything for you, please pass that on to your friends and family. Artwork makes a lovely gift. So there we go. So we can get started. I can see people are actually doing the poll, which is very cool. I'm going to switch back to this camera so I can show you the painting for tonight. And we shall get started. Once I'm all done with all this stuff, I'll see where the poll stands, and that's what we'll do. So it won't be too long. So get your clicks in on the poll. All right, and I'm going to jump back to that because I want to be able to see what's going on there too. Because I've never done a poll before, which is kind of cool. So I will say hello to everyone. Bug, you're the man. Thank you so much for that, Bug. Also, hey Ryan, what's up? Dan, I got to talk to you about bunch of stuff. I know I just sent you your confirmation of your order that you already got, but I also know there was another one in there, and I got to make sure I know what's going on with that. So thank you. Everything is out except for a couple items that I need to do special. So if you ordered something or won something, I'm pretty sure I got it out. Brad Mummery, what's up, buddy? I haven't seen you in a while. Excellent. Michael McClung, hello. Honey, hello, honey. Yay, what else we got? Ian Hart, I'm glad you're here. Gary Shees, what's up, buddy? Steve, what's going on? Yay, everyone's here. Excellent. All right. So tonight's one and only, 543. This gentleman has been making this suggestion for a little while, so I knew I was only going to do one, and this was going to be it. So our buddy Ian Hart has been asking for an E-type well, all right, I'll say it his way, an E-type Jaguar. So this is my painting. This car is, let's see if I can do this. It's a little bit dark, but you get the idea. This car is beautiful. So the E-Type Jag was produced between 1961 and 1974. The designer of this car was Malcolm Sayer, and it was referenced by Enzo Ferrari when it made its debut as the most beautiful car ever made. So imagine that. Enzo Ferrari, who's made some pretty nice cars himself, called this car the most beautiful car ever made. There is a Jaguar E-Type at the MoMA in New York, the Museum of Modern Art, which is pretty crazy. They have one in their collection. If you'd like to own one of these cars, from what I looked up, a E-Type in poor condition is about 60 grand, while a vehicle in good condition will set you back about $300,000. So that is my E-Type. Now, this one, because there's only one, is also the time lapse for tomorrow. So there you go. Now, if you win tonight, you may choose this painting. If you do not choose this painting, you could choose whatever painting is on my site. If you want this painting, it's going to go up on my site after if no one picks it or the winner doesn't pick it. But you're going to have to give me about 10 minutes because I didn't have a chance to put it on the website before. Usually I have it ready to go and I just hit the button and it's on there. So it's usually ready right after the feed, but it's going to take about 10 minutes for me to load this up. So be patient if you would like this painting. Again, don't forget to use the code, which I made a little thing for you. So when we're working tonight, you'll be able to see it, but it's summer 25 and that'll get you, I'll get you 40% off. So to give you an idea, if you get this painting, even if you just purchase this painting and then get the framing with it, it's still about the price of a normal 543 without the frame. So it'd be like getting the frame for free. You can get a huge discount on it, obviously, if you just take the painting. But it goes for the big paintings too. You know, the giant, full-blown paintings. The 40% works on that too. So if you're thinking about one of those paintings, absolutely now is the time. All right, I'm going to try to get the, again, my everlasting and never-ending quest to see myself live, which never works on my tablet because it's a poopy head. But we'll figure it out. Usually when I reload, it comes up like that. Okay, good. So let's check out the poll and we'll see what we're doing. And I've never done the polls before, so I don't know how to look at it. Oh, that must be how to look at it. No? Oh, there it is. You double click on it. All right. Oh, wow. That's surprising. Huh. So, all right, we're going to, yeah, I did not expect that. That's cool. So right now it's kind of a runaway with the Corvette. The Corvette's in at 69%. And at 15% is the Turkey and the airbrush holder. So we're going to do the Corvette. That's really cool. I honestly thought it was going to be the airbrush holder. So thank you very much for letting me practice with my YouTube stuff. So we're going to do the Corvette, and I am totally unprepared. I love it. Look at that. It actually worked. See, that's another thing that YouTube is awesome at with the poll stuff. That's really neat. Because now I can think of all kinds of stuff to poll you guys on, like, what's your favorite color and all that fun stuff. All right, so I'm going to get rid of these magnets. I was doing 543s earlier, or, the last time I was painting. So I'm going to get rid of these. And while I'm doing this, I officially got my entries into the Tikkanen painting I guess it's exhibition, which is in Ashtabula in Ohio. It is a massive show. It is a feather in one's cap if you get into this show. It carries a gigantic first place prize and second and third, and honorable mention is huge too. And that's not really it's nice to win, but just getting in the show because it's so competitive is gigantic. So I've never entered the show because you do have to be within the certain area of Ashtabula. But now that I am, I entered. So I got my thing stuck in there. What? Oh, I just was reading Steve's about the gnome middle finger sticking up, and I started reading his thing. So I got my stuff stuck in there. It's all set. All right. All right. That's only 99. I don't know. Oh, was it? Yeah. Did someone get their 1% bumped out? I don't know. It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress, Ryan. I'll take 99. All right. What do we do? What do we want to do? I did the wheel with you guys, and I did some of the motor. What would be fun? The headlight would be fun. It's kind of a lot of work for tonight. I think we've done gravel, right? The gravel's going to be a lot of fun because that's going to be, hold on, let me grab the other painting since I was thinking of it. There's a 5% error rate. Thanks, Gary. So this is Albert's Fender. This is the second or the first painting in that series. I did 2 of them at 8x10. So this is the one I entered in Tikkanen. This and the Island Creek painting. But the reason why I grabbed it was because of the gravel. So this gravel is very similar to this. It's just going to be a little bit more gray. But that might not make a great live feed. That might make a better time lapse. I've done all the chrome on this, so I can't do that. So why don't we do let me look at why don't we do this? Let me look at the picture, the reference, and then we'll figure it out from there. I think that might be a better idea, just so we can get something interesting. I probably should have, I swore it was going to be the airbrush holder. I was like, it's going to be the airbrush holder. What can I do here? Oh, I am totally not prepared for this. We're doing the motor. I'm telling you why, because here's why. So here's my folder. And with a bigger painting like this, I still use, this is an HD stencil, by the way, but I made a mistake with this. When I got the HD stencil, I put it down on here, but I forget why, but I didn't like it. Something happened with it. So I ended up redoing the HD stencil a second time. I realigned it, but what happened was in between that time, a lot of the paint had dried in the holes, so the HD stencil didn't really give me a great, as super clear as it normally is. So I was going to use, photocopies anyway. But with a bigger painting like this, it's 8x10, so I could use a whole sheet of paper. But what I really like to do to save a little bit of paper, because I'm doing multiple copies, is take bits and pieces, like when we're working on the motor, and that way I don't have to print out, an entirely full sheet every time. So I don't have any other copies other than the wheel and the motor, so we're doing the motor. What I really should do is take you over to my desk and we'll do the Photoshop stuff. But I'm not set up for that. There are no cameras over there. So that's it. I know, it's great. I love it. Tony D. I was randomly watching a YouTube tutorial on painting ghost flames. It was by Airbrush University. Cool. The guy sounded just like you. Was that your channel? No, it wasn't. I gotta go check it out. What's funny is when I was working at Bear Air and we had the class, which was the big class. We had Mike Learn and Keith Hansen and Nub and Scott McKay and all these people were doing these 5-day classes. We called it Airbrush University, so that's pretty interesting. All right then. I guess we're doing it. What do we want to do? Let's get the battery box there. I got those. I did that. Header, oil. I did the hoses. I don't know, I guess we're just going to work on it. I'm so unprepared. I love it. I haven't looked at this painting in so long, too. This is great. Thank you, guys. This is awesome. This is why I love you guys. Because, you keep me honest. And who knows when I would have worked on this again. But you guys rock. Okay, so I'm going to switch to the other camera so you guys can get in close. I think what we're going to do is... we'll probably do the box. DOS box. This little guy right here. Yeah, because there's some fun stuff on that. So some details, and that'll pretty much finish that. There's also the yellow, the oil, the dipstick right here too. So we could probably grab that as well. Maybe we'll start with that. Yeah. Do I have the head done? I think I do. Yeah, let's work on this. I think that's good. That'll kind of get that thing finished. Oh, see now, James, welcome. And you can talk about food today because the thing that's wrong with me is I've had this little stomach bug that's been like rolling me over. So the last thing I want to do right now is eat. In fact, the cheers for the day is Diet Dr. Pepper. So no beer either, because I had a beer yesterday for Father's Day and it would hit me like a rock. So none of that for me. All right. Yeah, let's do all this stuff. Let's do the dipstick and we'll do the oil fill. I think that'll be good. So that way, can I get you guys closer? Do I want to get you guys closer? Do you need to be closer? Yeah, why not? Sure you do. I got the videos done too for this week, so Open Studio is ready to go. I'm super happy with that. That's coming along really nice. Sorry, I didn't mean to take you on the ride for that, but that's what we're doing. So yeah, so Open Studio is coming out great. I'm about 75% done with the foreground buildings, which is crazy. That's that painting. We got about 26 hours in that right now. So I'm really happy with the way that's coming out. Obviously the dollar bill painting wasn't finished for Ashtabula, but that's okay. Who else we got? Boko, what's up, buddy? Grumpy, what's going on? My UK friends are coming in now. Yay. If I missed anyone, hello. All right. So I think what we're going to do is we'll start with the dipstick, and if there's a bass player YouTuber that I follow named Danny Sapko, and he's also from the UK, and his favorite insult is calling people a dipstick. So I thought that was also ironic for tonight with all my UK friends. All right, so what we're going to do, it's in here now, it's right there, but it's got a lot of red on it and stuff. So what we're going to do is we are going to cut out a little template for this. But here's the rub. I've got that really nice red on the inside of that. I know it's kind of washed out. Let me see if I can lower the exposure a little bit so you're not so blinding. And we'll focus it a little bit too. All right, so I've already got the red in the middle of it. So I could cut out a little adhesive stencil. You know what, I could cut out I don't want to do that. I was going to say I could cut out a stencil for the whole thing, but let's cut out an adhesive stencil for it first. What I was going to do is I was just going to cut out bits and pieces of it, but it's actually going to go faster if we cut out an adhesive stencil. So there are a couple of ways to do this. And I'll show you the way that it takes a little bit longer, but it gives me better results because of one reason, and I'll show you. I could put the mask right on this and I could probably see it and then cut it out. But more than likely, if I push a little bit too hard, I'm going to push the knife right through the clay surface on the top of this ampersand board, and that'll leave a mark, and you'll be able to see it unless I bury it in clear, the whole painting. And I don't want to do that. So there's an easy way to get this kind of to work without kind of going through the motions. So I'm going to take one of these copies, and I'm going to slide this up so you can see me doing this. And I'm going to cut out the insert right in between these two. And I'm going to make a little template out of this. So I want to be as exact as I can. Now I can cut as deep as I want, basically. I don't have to worry about, cutting through anything because I'm just cutting on the mat. Get that out of here, and there we go. So now I'm going to use this little template to make my adhesive template. Dr. Pepper in that. Bob, yeah, there is absolutely Dr. Pepper in that. Yeah, like I said, my stomach's been on a roller coaster the past few days, and so I'm not tempting fate at all. What I need is some tape now. Oh, here it is. So I've got a little bit of this. This is 3M masking tape, but it's very much like the KUTG Gold. It's really thin. So I'm going to take a bit of that. This doesn't have a backing like the other stuff, so we're just going to rip off a piece of this. But Bob, you know that I'll make it up. Rum in that. Actually, what I heard is I heard tequila actually helps upset stomachs. Now, I don't know if that's true, but it might be something to try too. All right, so I've got my cutting mat. Hopefully this is relatively clean, so I'm just going to kind of put that on there. And then I grab this template and I just kind of hold it in place. I'll put a magnet on it because I got to fill an airbrush with some paint. But Just going to grab an airbrush. I'm going to put black in this one. You can use any color as long as you can see it. Oh, it's spraying by itself. Why is that happening? I don't know. Well, it worked, but it shouldn't have worked like that. But, oh, Bill, thank you so much. Bill, I was saying that, you know, like I said, I've been kind of out of it the past few days, and I've been missing all the feeds, so I'm really going to try to get back on the stick. But yours is one of them that I don't like to miss. So hopefully I'll be on tomorrow night when you're doing your thing. All right, let me dry that off because that hit it kind of hard. I just needed to put a little bit of paint on there, but it ended up being a lot of paint. All right, so now when I pulled this, I've got the exact shape of that. You know, could I guess and gotta get close? Yeah, but why do that when you can get it exactly on there? So now again, I can cut this out and I can be really exact on it without having to worry about, now normally what I would do is this would go right on the painting and then I'd cut this out on the painting. And trust me, it takes a special kind of hand to be able to do that, to not cut into the surface below. And I'm telling you, if you do that, it's not going to kill the painting, but you'll see all those cutouts from an angle when you put a couple of coats of clear on it, which is not what you want. All right, so now I'm going to gently pull this away, make sure I've got the whole thing cut out, and I do. And now I have the little cutout for me. So now it's just a matter of grabbing this off of here, like that. Oops, you missed it. So I just basically slid the knife underneath and then pulled it off. Now I can take this guy here and drop it in place. And now my red's totally covered and I don't have to worry about it getting yellow on it. What I really should have done was I really should have done the whole thing. But I'm going to show you the other way to do it then. So the other way to do it, we don't actually need, do I have to see this? Probably. Why not? What could go wrong? What else in upstairs is what did you eat? I know, Michael, I've been trying, and actually I've been doing really, really well. Like I just had my annual physical a couple weeks ago, ironically, right before, you know, the wheels fell off and I got whatever this thing is. But yeah, my physical went really, really well. I have a lot of stuff coming up this fall, and I don't want to be a tank for any of this stuff, including my daughter's wedding. So I decided I was going to, you know, kind of do the right thing and get into, you know, get back down to my fighting weight and all that stuff. And all that's been going really, really well. So, yeah, so for the first time, or recently, since probably about 2017, yeah, I am doing the right thing. You know, no trips to fast food land and trying to be good. So it's ironic, though, you know, you try to do the right thing and that's when the wheels fall off. So maybe I should go back to eating, you know, fish and chips and whatever else. What else we got? Third of the way showtime. Awesome, honey. Thank you. All right, so now I've got the rest of the dipstick cut out. So now, again, what I could have done, or I can do, I could have just sprayed, you know, done the same thing, made an adhesive mask for this, but we're just gonna wing it on this one because what could go wrong? Well, you might see what could go wrong in a minute. So I'm gonna use the biggest magnets I have because the ampersand board doesn't let the magnets stick to it, so I have to use the big ones. And then we're just gonna have to be careful on this side. So to get this to work, to get this to spray, or to get not a lot of underspray, because around this is all red and black, stuff I don't want to get the color on. I'll slide this over a little bit so we're centered. So I don't want to get the color all over this, the white and the, well, first the white and then the yellow. Let's make sure we're focused. There we go. You only live once, Steve. I agree with that, Ian. I do agree with that. And you know what? I got a clean bill of health, so apparently I wasn't that bad. So yeah. All right, so we're going to line this up. So again, so it's surrounded by black and it's surrounded by red, and I don't want to get, you know, the yellow and all that on there. So I'm gonna have to be really careful on this. So one of the great ways to not get underspray, which is that paint slipping underneath like a shield or a mask that you're using, is if you, one is you use really light coats, and number two, use really dry coats. So dry coats means not a lot of reducer in it. If the thicker the paint, the less it's gonna sneak underneath. So you want to kind of keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do for the yellow, or for the white, because I'm going to base this in white first, so the yellow will really pop. I'm going to use a white that's not really reduced that much. I should say not that reduced for me. So this is 2 parts paint to 1 part reducer. You can't read it, but trust me on that. Angus, what's up? I saw that. Ron, what's going on? Good suggestions. We have 7 people on the list tonight. So if you haven't won yet, get your suggestions in, because the field of eligible winners is getting smaller and smaller, which is good for you guys because it means everyone's going to win a painting. Again, we haven't had it happen where everyone's won one and we do a feed. I don't know what's going to happen with that. We'll figure that out when we get there, but all right, so what I'm going to do, this is fairly thick paint. I've got the Iwate Eclipse, just a regular CS here, 0.35. And what I want to be real careful of is this side over here. So I'm going to put my finger over here, maybe my pinky here, and try to hold everything down. And I'm going to hit this straight on. So it looks like I'm at an angle right now to you guys because the camera's at an angle, but I'm 90 degrees to this opening because I want the air to help hold things down too. And all I'm going to do is just kind of rock the trigger back and forth. Really subtly, real lightly, because I want to build that white up really, really slowly. Obviously, I don't have to worry about any of the paint getting under the tape in the middle, but I do have to worry about the paint getting under the edges on the outside. Now, when you're working real slow, the paint dries almost right away, which is what we want. See what I mean? If it stays wet, that means it has a chance to get underneath. If it dries when it hits the surface, it's not going to go underneath. So, how did I do that? You know how I did that. All right, hit it again. I don't have to get this to 100% white, but the more white it is, the better the yellow is going to stand on it. Okay, so that's that. Upset stomach ginger eases. No, thank you, James. Yeah, I heard ginger works, and I also heard bitters works as well. My stomach is notorious though, so I don't know if that's going to help. I am fine. I am fine. I am on the downside of that because I've had it happen before, so it's not a big deal. It just slows me down, you know. All right, so I've got the brush cleaned out. So I'm going to pick a yellow. What I'm going to do is, you guys can't, oh, I do have it. I'm going to quickly switch to this so you can see the reference photo. I still have it in my list of stuff. So this will be good. Here's what the actual photo looks like. And it's hard to see it, the little dipstick up there, but see the area in the light? That's really bright yellow, almost like a sunflower yellow. So even though a bunch of it is in shade, you can see the top part of the ring, the bottom of the ring, and then the collar that, you know, basically keeps you from sticking the dipstick too far in. I know, make all your jokes now. Those are all yellow, bright yellow, and then the other stuff is kind of shaded. But I'm going to do the whole thing in bright yellow and then shade it from there. So now you got that. You get that. What else? Jack Daniel's bottle, that's good. Sean, you never have to say you're sorry. Sean, I'm looking forward to getting your the next open studio. A little spoiler alert. So the next open studio after I finish Tokyo is going to be a pen blank by London Pen, which will be a lot of fun. So I have the blank. I just got to decide what I'm going to do with it. I have a couple ideas already, so I also have time because we're still pretty far away on the Tokyo painting, but it will be good. The nice thing about doing the pen is that, one, it's less real estate, it's small, but two, I don't have to frame it, which is great. We love that. All right, so for this I'm going to use golden yellow, which you Can't really see it, but it's in there. Same eclipse, because I want this, same deal here. I want this to be a little bit thicker. Now, out of the bottle is too thick. So just to kind of help along, I'm going to use the, this says 4011, but it's not. It's 4021 and 4050. So I'm going to put a few drops of that in. It's mixed 1:5, so it's a lot of reducer and just a little bit of 4050. So that just kind of helps it spray a little bit better and do what it's supposed to and that kind of fun stuff. Wait, I need to know the prep setters. I'm ready to paint a few too. Yeah, Sean, what I did on yours is I just used Autoborn Sealer, and that worked great. The thing is with the clear though, I cleared yours with House of Color, so I got to figure out if that's still the best way to go. I'd love to find like a little bit higher impact clear, because having it super clear, like visually clear, is important. But also with a pen that's going to be handled, it almost needs to be like I'd love to see about some of those IR cured resin clears too. So what I may do, Sean, when I'm done with the painting, I may cop out and just send it to you uncleared, and we figure it out. Because I think it's going to, knowing what clear works best, if you don't already know, I think will benefit everyone. And you probably already know, so. All right, so there it is. So there's my yellow. It's on the thicker side. I'm going to do exactly the same thing here. Just going to hold down as much as I can. I'm going to keep that about 1.5 to 2 inches away. And I'm just going to lightly rock the trigger back and forth and let that spray on there. Now, normally what I do is I spray by sight so I can see the wet paint, and that it's like a shininess that's on it, and then I watch that disappear, and then I can put on the next coat. I don't want to see any shiny on this. I want it to dry like almost right away. So just really light, be patient, which is hard, but you can do it if I can do it. So you just really lightly go, and this is the danger zone right now. I've got a bunch of the yellow on, and it's starting to look good. And this is where you like can't see the extra yellow going on. So this is where I always pull the trigger back too far, because I want to see the paint going on, and then I end up screwing it up. So the basic idea is just keep the same motion going, even if you can't see the paint going on. Don't get tempted to pull the trigger back farther to see paint coming out, because that's when it gets screwed up. And then, if everything went well, you can take this off, and you should have a pretty tight edge around the whole thing. Now, there is a little bit of underspray here. There's a little gap here and a little gap there. That's just because it wasn't quite lined up right. That's minor. What I'm really looking for is like the yellow against the red. See how tight that is? And also right here, the yellow against the black. That's where things were lined up right. And I didn't get any yellow overspray on this. So that's a total win. And I know there won't be any underspray on this because of the adhesive mask. So I talked about this on Open Studio last week. And if you would like to watch it, I would appreciate it. But I talked a lot about adhesive masks and edges and that kind of thing. And getting away from this adhesive mask is hugely important for my progression as an artist, because I was relying too much on this stuff, on the adhesive mask. Everything was adhesive mask. Like if I had to change colors anywhere, I would use adhesive masks. And it didn't work out great, because what happens is, right now you can see this thing stands off like it's like glowing. And yes, it is all yellow, it has no shading on it, but still it doesn't have the subtlety as like this area here as the red rolls into this gap right here. I would have masked all this off, like hard mask, and it would have been, I got tape on it now, but it would have been just like nasty looking. It wouldn't have looked natural. Everything looked like a jigsaw puzzle, you know, that kind of thing. So getting away from that and finding different ways to do things is a great way to be. What else we got? Monarch Butterfly is good. I think I've done I know I've done Monarch Butterflies, but I think I've done a blue Monarch too, which was fun. Yes, Sean, we're gonna have time to talk. So let's figure the clear out before I get to the end of that. Which again, don't worry about it. We're probably about we're over halfway done with the Tokyo painting. Well, since you guys are here, I'll show you. Meaning super close. This is what I've got done on the Tokyo painting so far. So I've got a lot done. All this stuff is done. About 75% of the close-up buildings, I just have to do this little wedge right here. And then I got to jump across the river and do the rest of that. And so I've still got probably about like 15 to 20 hours left in this painting, which translates to, you know, double that in episodes. But yeah. And then I got to frame it too. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do first is before I do the shading and all that, I'm going to correct the little mistakes that are on here. So let us do this. Mr. McKay, what is up? Scott, I love you, you know that, but I also hate you. So Scott's basically his whole street was hit by a bolt of lightning, and it blew up his switcher, which is what we use to, you know, switch cameras and do all that stuff. So... So Scott's going to get the brand new switcher when it comes out. It's coming out in a couple of weeks, which is, you know, this massive thing, and it's got, you know, NASA controls on it and everything. So in the meantime, Scott got a switcher to kind of limp by. So the switcher that Scott got to limp by is the same switcher that I used to run my whole thing. So thanks for making me feel technologically challenged, Scott. I love you. But Scott loves doing that, and you know, whenever I have a question on this stuff, he's the first guy I call. So I like when it works, but I don't like when it doesn't work. Like I really don't like it. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to turn this on because we need this. So the other fun thing we'll do tonight. This is now got too much stuff on it, and a lot of the stuff that's on this has absorbed too much water, and it's not great paint anymore. So we're going to change this, and you get to do this live with me, which is also kind of fun. So this is the parchment paper that you put on the foam, and I'm going to be real careful to pull this up because this paint is still wet, so I don't want to get this wet paint on the foam. So what we do is just kind of start pulling it up, and then it's stuck under there, but oh, like that. See, I didn't want that. You got to be careful with it. So we're going to have to get that off. You want to try to get it up, so get this off so that it doesn't rip like I just did it. And it's slimy and it's gross, and yeah. So we get that out of there. Now I'm going to have to deal with that. Throw that away. Normally at this point what I would do is I would take it up to the sink and just rinse it out with warm water, and you know, maybe if it's bad, like just a half a drop of dish soap, and then you wring it out so there's no soap left, especially with this little guy being right here. But we're going to try to get that out, which that worked. Lovely. But we're not going to do that tonight because I don't want to keep you waiting. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just refill the water, since it's easy to do the water without the pad in it or without the paper in it. So I'm just going to fill this up, or just kind of put water on it till it soaks into the foam, and then just kind of becomes dry again on it. Not dry, but you know, it doesn't have water standing on it. So I'll let that do that for a second. And then I have a new sheet right here because I was planning on doing this. This is the parchment. It's really like just a thin piece of something really cool. You can't use regular parchment because it does actually wick the water through. And then what you do is you line this up, place it down, kind of like one end at first, and then just let the rest of it go. And you have a few seconds to, not a few seconds, but you have a little bit of time to like readjust it so it's where you want it. So that sheet is a little bit smaller than the palette. So there you go. You get to see the messiness too over here, which is fun. So now that's on there and ready to go. It's going to wrinkle up as we go, but yeah, it's ready to go. I'll show you I'll show you real quick how to fix that, but we won't have to do it too much tonight because it's going to take a little bit of time to level out. And yeah, here it is. So I have you use anything, you use an old credit card or an old ATM card. I have a squeegee for putting down vinyl graphics. And what happens is, if this one went down really, really well. So, and this is because there's too much water in it. But sometimes it curls up, sometimes it does wonky things. So I just use this to kind of smooth it out. And then eventually it smooths out itself, but this is just when you're impatient and you want to get it done. So there you go. How often do you change the parchment? Honey, I only change it when I run out of room. Or when the paint gets really funky. Like what happens is because the idea is it draws water up. This is distilled water that I used for this. So it draws the water up into the droplet of paint as the paint dries on the surface. So the problem with that is you're replacing, binders and all the other cool stuff that Createx puts in it with water. That's fine for a little while, but you don't want to keep doing it because you end up with this really weird, weak paint after a while. So yeah, so when it gets really full, I just pull it up. You get 50 sheets. I think it takes me a year to go through 50 sheets. So yeah, so I mean, that sounds like I change it once a week, but maybe I change it twice a week, something like that. All right, now that I've got that done, I'm gonna grab some black. This is regular Createx opaque black. Yeah, there is a lot of water in this. Before I get started on this, I'm gonna drain out some of the water because that's a little bit too much water. And I have my little rinse out cup here, so you can't see it, but I just dump it into the rinse out cup for my brushes. That's good. Now it's on the surface. There's not, it's not floating anymore. And ready to go. I want you to refurbish to save. Yeah. Oh, you did. Okay, cool. That's a good idea, Scott. And like we talked about, that little one, the one that I'm using, and the one that you got as your refurb, that's the one that I know you're talking about, making a portable live like studio. That's the one to be using. That would be great to have something like that as a portable. In fact, if I ever got the bigger one, that's what I would do. I would keep this small one. And by what we're talking about by big and small, mine has 4 channels, so I can hook up 4 cameras to it. But the bigger ones have a lot more channels in them, so you can hook up a lot more cameras and do a lot more fun stuff with it. All right, so I've got black now. And all I'm going to do is kind of fix the little areas that weren't quite right. And I'll do this now because if I go and put all the shading in and then try to do this, there's a chance that, something will go sideways. So it's better to kind of take this kind of right now and make it the way it should be. So, and this is also the spot. Who did that? Honey, love you, thank you. This is also the spot that if I did have some underspray, like down on the bottom here, if I did it right, even if I got a little bit of underspray, just a quick pass with the paintbrush will get rid of all that. Or if I wanted to, I could get one of those really small micro, like the Medea nail art stencil like this one, and I could like find a curve that matched that, and I could just gently airbrush. Well, let's do that. I'll show you how that works. I should have done that before I fixed it, but you'll get the idea. So I pick one of these curves that's going to match up with that edge, and I'm going to use a magnet to hold it in place, but you could hold it with your fingers too. I like to use the magnets all the time because, it just gives me an extra hand. So now if I take this and do the same kind of thing, I can go just put a little bit of black down below that. Doing it exactly the same way. I'm aimed 90 degrees at that template and just lightly putting the black on. Not heavy, because remember that underspray that got under there is really light as well. It won't take much to fix it. And then that cleans it up really, really nice. And no adhesive masks, which is great. Now, do I want to do the rest of it with the paintbrush? I don't think so. A White Walker. That's awesome. That's also scary. I love it. Used on the road in the shop. Yeah, that's awesome, Scott. Yeah, let's airbrush the shadows because they're pretty much defined. By the way, do you love my yellow nail polish now? Yeah, because those shadows are really defined. So let's. This is how I do it. If it was an instance where I could get away with doing the paintbrush, if it was small, then that's the way to go. But with this one, like, all right, if it's a 543, I would just use the paintbrush for that because it's quick, it's dirty, it does the job, and that's it. But with this guy, this is going to ultimately look like the Albers Fender painting. So it's going to have like end game detail in it. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to push this as hard as I can. So that means doing things right all the time, or to the best of my ability all the time. And that means no cutting corners. So this is obviously a round shape. So it fades at the top here. It's got a little bit of fade, so I'm just going to cut across where there is no paint, is no shadow. I'll show you what I do there in a second. So the other thing too is this side of the ring is the same color, but I'm not going to cut that out because obviously the middle of this would fall out. I can hand paint that too. And these are just decisions that I make. You know, you get used to like, okay, what if I cut that out? You know, will this fall out? So the only way I learn that is by cutting out the wrong things and have stuff fall out. You know what I mean? And that should be the same for you guys. You know, just if you get into doing all this cut stencil work, that's the way you'll learn. That's the way you'll figure it out. Because no one ever gets it right all the time. So there we go. Flip this over so you can see it. So there's my shadows. Again, that brown, the shading color is going to go all the way around like this on this little edge. And I also connected these two as well. But obviously if I cut those two out, this piece right here would fall out, and we don't want that. Because I don't have to do another adhesive mask. You know, that just takes too long. Bill, what are you doing? But thank you so much, Bill. All right, so now let's figure out what color this is. And line this up, get this in here. I just had a moment there. It didn't line up, and I didn't know why, but I figured out what I was doing wrong there. All right, that's in place. This goes here. Yeah, actually the middle isn't lined up. You can see it, just a little tiny bit of it right here. So I didn't put the middle on in the right place, but that's okay. We can fix that. Look at you guys with your 543 suggestions. That's awesome. Love it. All right, so now do I have a copy of that? I hope I do. I mean a color copy so I can see what I'm doing without having to switch out to the, I have this, you know, I have the same reference photo that I showed you guys, but it's just bigger. Do I have a copy? If not, I'll just jump to that real quick and see what color it is. Nope, I do not have a printout of the color part here. Unfortunate. But not terrible. All right, hold that thought. You guys are fine. I just won't be able to see your comments for a second while I look at my reference. There it is. So that color is, oh good, it's yellow, it's like a yellowish brown. All right, fantastic. Perfect. Come on, there we go. All right. So the reason why that's perfect is because I can use the same yellow that I just used. Now, I only need this like a tiny bit of it, but there's a ton in here, so I don't want to mess around with not wasting, but trying to turn that amount of paint into this color would be crazy. So I'm going to dump out a few drops of it and just get it. Then now the paint is just at the bottom of the cup there. And I don't think I can I show this to you? Oh no, yeah, we'll do it over here. So what I'm going to do to get there is I'm going to use a little bit of brown. Yeah. Wicked brown and black will get me there. So I'm going to put some brown on the palette because I don't need a whole bunch of it. Put some of that there. A little bit of brown. So that's probably about 1/3 of a drop of brown. Now that basically, because I took out a bunch of paint, that pretty much all sucked into the brush. So I'm going to add right now, because I got to do it anyway, I'm going to add the 40-50 and 40-21. I'll probably put about 4 drops in there. So this is going to be really transparent, and that's okay. I want it to be. And now I can check it, because now I can see it. There's plenty of stuff in there. But see what I mean? Like if I mix that into that little bit of paint I had left, I'd have a 1/2 cup of paint right now, and I don't need all that. It's going to need a little bit more brown. Yeah, that's good. Now it's going to need a little bit of black. So I think I'm going to use, this is also reduced. It's 1 part paint to 10 parts reducer, so I'm going to use 1 drop of that. Again, if I wanted to, if I didn't have it all pre-reduced like I do, I would put a drop of black on the, or I just grab from the palette and do the same thing I did with the brown. But I have it pre-reduced, so it makes it really easy. Yeah, we're going to start with this. This is a kind of a darker brown, olivey kind of color, which will be perfect. I don't want to get it too dark because I can always add a little bit of black to it, but this will be a good start. Roy, what's up, buddy? Yay. Excellent. How are we doing? We got 10 minutes. Holy crap. This is good. All right, now I've got yellow in the brush, so I gotta get that yellow mixed in. So I'm just gonna put the little cleaning cloth at the end of this thing, and I'm just gonna let that bubble back in the cup gently. And I do mean gently, because if you pull this trigger back really far when you're doing this, you're gonna be wearing it. And again, the only way you know that is by trying it, and I've already done it, so I'm not gonna do it again. All right, so now I should have the brown. Same thing here. I'm just going to go over really lightly and see how it looks. I'm going to avoid, though, I need to get the knife so I can point to it. I'm going to avoid this side for a second, though. Show you why when I get there. First, I want to see how dark this gets. Yeah, this looks good. I just wanted to see as I got close to opacity to see how much of the brown was in there, and it's going to work out well. So I'm going to kind of finish this up. Same thing. I got to go really just light coats because I don't want this kind of creeping underneath either. Now this side here, remember the top of that, it fades up. It fades into the rest of the it comes to a kind of a harder edge, but it's still fading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting this, but I'm not going to go all the way to the end. And I got to hold that down because there's a lot of air there. So for that, I use my little meat skewer thing, which is nice to have. I'm going to concentrate mostly at the bottom of this little loop. Again, I'm just painting the bottom half. I'm letting the overspray get up to the top, to the top. Even when I pull this off, you'll still see the line, but I'll take care of that when we get there. So again, just painting the bottom half of that loop. That should be good. Should be good. I'm going to take a look at it first before I add a little bit more black if I need to, but yay. So that's good. That's real good. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with that. I was going to add a little bit of black to that, but I don't think I am. So the other thing too is you notice the gap where I didn't cut out, the gap right there where the ring is, and also on this ring itself. So we're going to do that now. I could always, do I want to do that? I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to put some golden yellow on the palette because that's the underlying color here, and I think I'm going to need it. So I've got the brown here. That's not the brush I want. This is the brush I want. So that's the brown. I'm going to grab a little bit of that golden yellow to make that same shadow color. And a touch of black. This is full strength black on the palette, so I got to be really careful. The opaque black is a jumbo color. This is probably even too dark. I probably added too much, but it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be okay. Might be okay. We'll see. I didn't realize so many colors in a dipstick. Yeah, Michael, that's what we're doing. I'm going to need a new copy because I don't have my reference photo, so I just got to make sure I am seeing this the right way. Yeah, there we go. Good. Good. This edge along the outside edge is a little darker anyway. So that's a good thing. Because this, generally what happens, yeah, see this is about the same color, which is nice. I did a good job, but now that I'm doing this, it should have been a little bit darker. But generally the paintbrush puts paint on a little bit darker. So if you took the same exact color out of, like if you just dipped it into your airbrush with a paintbrush and painted it on the surface, it generally goes on a lot heavier and it's basically a lot darker. Because you're building up to opacity, and generally we don't get there right away with the airbrush. So it's something to keep in mind. This one, like I said, I thought it was going to be too dark, but it is not. And this side here is a little bit of a miss, but that's okay too, because we'll get that cleaned up. I am going to darken this a little bit though. Maybe I don't have to. The other thing to keep in mind too, when you're doing paintbrush work and you're putting it on a little bit heavier, the paint dries darker as well. So you get that kind of twofer in there. You got to be careful of that. You're putting more of it on, so it's more, you know, it's closer to that. It's closer to its full strength color, and then it tends to dry a little bit darker when you get it on there. There are also some details in here too now that I can start getting, like there's a second collar right here that's going to have to be darker than that. And also, you know, sometimes it takes more than one coat, especially with a cranky color like brown. That feels good. The other thing too, I didn't do a good job cleaning that outside edge up. So I'll let that dry, grab a little bit of black and clean up this edge. So for instance, there is no yellow here. And this is really like perfectly round or oval. So I can see that in my reference photo. I wish, yeah, I should have been thinking more. So I should have had the reference photo ready to go, assuming that any one of them could be picked. But I didn't. All right, so that edge ring type of thing, that's going to have to be darker. So I'm going to add a little bit of black to that. I'm going to hit that again. And it's funny too, because like this, you know, this car is maroon, like a real, well, actually, no, I shouldn't say that. It's red, but because it's in shadow, a lot of it is very maroon. And then you have, you know, you have the engine compartment here, which is that bright red. So it's little bits of these like shock colors, like yellow, is really going to make this painting. Even though, you know, I'm not making it up. They're really there. They really do make the painting, you know. The other thing I really don't like, and I think I'm going to get away with it. Do you see how the top of this just kind of flares up? It looks like this part up here is wider than the ring is perfectly ring shaped. But I think I cut that out poorly. And here's why I think I can get away with this, because right where that happens, it looks like it's just full-on pyrrole red. There's no shading on that. If there was shading on it, it would be a little bit different kind of repair. But I think I can fix this just with pyrrole. So we're going to put out some pyrrole red here and see if we can take the curse off that wonky edge. It is pyrrole. I mean, I knew it was pyrrole, but it's like there's no other shading there. So that was a fun save. Nice. Nice. Wait, what else? I most of the speed limit. Yeah. You're not that old. I love it. Oh, wait, young Mr. Leahy. Yes. Mr. Colin. What's up, bud? All right, so that's good. Now I got to get the rest of the details. And now I do feel like this has to be a little bit darker, but I'll show you how I do that. I would always rather make it darker than have to lighten it up. It's so much easier to darken it than to lighten it. Plus, this little shadow is wrong too. Not by a lot, but a little bit. For instance, this, you know, this shadow, which isn't really a shadow, it's a gap, goes right to this other little indent here. So I'll straighten that out too. You guys are going to make me want to finish this painting too. There we go. That's better. Okay, so now dealing with, well, actually, before we deal with that, I'll get the little collar down here because this is pure black. And it may look out of place right now, but I'll get it dialed in a second with the rest of the black. So now I get a chance to make it a little bit darker and make it work. Remember, I was kind of on the fence on whether I was going to put in the dark or not. You know, the extra little bit of black. Well, see, now I can add that, but I'll add it with the airbrush. And is this brush going to play nice for me? Let me see. My Micron B needs to be cleaned out. I did a quick clean out this morning, but I think it needs a major tear down. And I think I might have mentioned this before. People ask all the time, you know, how often do you break down your brushes? And I only break them down when they start performing poorly. It just means that I can't get the dry paint that's in there out. And this brush may be at that point. We're going to find out right now. So what I could do is grab the template and put it on there again, but with this brush, I don't necessarily need to. I could just freehand it. And that's a lot of, that says a lot about the brush more than it says about me. This brush offers a lot of control. If this brush isn't working quite well, then, I could switch to the Infinity, which basically matches, this B for its detail ability. It's just, the only thing I'm having a problem with this brush, this is the Infinity right here, is the trigger on it. And I know there are fixes for it. You can put, like I saw David Naylor put hot glue or silicone glue on it to smooth it out. But if you see the pattern on there, I know it's not really focused. Well, let me focus it. Hold on. And this isn't like it's not thought out. Harder and Steenbeck did a lot of work on this brush. So they have this like tire tread like pattern, and it's designed to give you like maximum amount of like friction really. So as you're pulling the trigger back very slightly, you don't have to really worry about your fingers slipping off of it. The problem is, and this is not a problem with the brush, it's a problem with me, I have a very heavy hand, so I'll push the trigger down very hard because I get really like wound up and trying to concentrate, and as a result that tire tread pattern like kills my finger. So yeah, so there's that. You guys are getting all the dirt today. All right. Yeah, Bill. I saw you starting at 71. You mean airbrushing? Bill's been airbrushing a long time. Don't let him fool you. But we never stop. We never stop learning. So I'm sure that's what he was referring to. All right, let's do this. So again, the reason why I'm gonna, attempt this without a shield around it is because a lot of where this shadow is, except for the red part, but a lot of where the shadow is surrounded by black anyway. So if I get a little bit of black on this, you'll never see it. And all I'm doing is just really kind of coming in. Yeah, this is spraying by itself. That's bad. Okay. You get to see the Infinity after all. So spraying by itself just means that there's, dry paint in the nozzle and it's not letting the needle push all the way forward to close it off when it's not being used. And with this kind of stuff, you can't have any of that. Like sometimes when you're using a brush, it doesn't really matter, like you can get away with it doing that a little bit, but in this instance, you can't have any of that. All right, good. So infinity time, to infinity and beyond. So I'm going to get that kind of shading on the brown a little bit darker, not crazy, but just, in some spots, like on the bottom edge of this ring, and I'm starting to pull that up a little bit. So you see why most of this shading is done against the black anyway. Now the other thing that bugs me is that top piece has been, was in the wrong spot. So we're going to fix that too. But first I'm going to put the black in, and the black here is at the top edge of this and comes down a little bit. And that's it. So it gives it that sense that it's really round. All right, I don't think there are highlights on this too. You guys get, this is like maximum amount of effort for one little tiny dipstick ring. All right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to fix that missing red part. So again, this is opaque pyrrole red, and it's opaque. So we're going to see if we can get away with this without too much aggravation, which means normally what I would have to do is put white down first. But because I don't have too much of it to do, we're just going to put the red in and see if I can cover it. Because all I'm really doing is taking the curse off that misalignment right there. Yeah, that's going to work out fine. I'm not going to worry about that. The other way to do it, if I couldn't get it with the red, I would have to paint that little area white first and then paint it red. Again, that acts as a primer. Brad! Sean, what's up? A jeweler's file. Yeah, Sean, with this one though, this was kind of a special brush for me. It's my first harder. What I would do in that instance, where's my Rich pen? Yeah, that's still out. So let me switch back. So the Rich pen had a notoriously nasty trigger as well. It was like a beehive trigger. So what I did with the Rich pen trigger is I ground it down to be more like an Iwata trigger. You can see the brass right there. And then I put a piece of sandpaper on the top. So I have no problem doing that to a brush, but I've got a bunch of these. Actually, this is my Mojo. So Mike did that one. You can tell because it's a 222, not a 213. But I did it to all my 213s as well. So yeah, so that's, you know, I wouldn't mind doing that, but if I did that to the harder, I would just order a new trigger and then do it to the new trigger. So, but that's an excellent suggestion too. I'm going to try that, the hot glue trick, see if that works too. Gotta love David Naylor, man, because he makes that thing work like nobody's business. And he's got all these little hacks for it too. So I've got a little bit of black here, and I'm just gonna kind of finish this up. Want it sort of dry, because I'm just gonna put the bottom of that ring in, and then I'm gonna put the highlights on this, and then this little guy will be done. And you can see as I added the black on this bottom ring, it kind of, you know, pushed that back a little bit. It's not as crazy. All right, so for the highlight is along this top edge here, and it's the same yellow, but just got a little bit of white in it. Again, you know, it's so easy with highlights to overdo it, and you know, because it's like candy, you know, it's like, or sprinkles or whatever. You just, you know, a little bit tastes great, but then you go and overdo it and it tastes like butt. So same thing with highlights. If you add too many of them, you know, you're having fun doing it, but it ends up looking like trash in the end. So this is a, you know, just a lighter yellow here. This might not be might not be light enough, but we'll try it. Again, I'd rather hit it underneath and then you have to, you know, add a little bit more to it than to go too crazy, you know, put like pure white on this and then have it look like trash. Have to redo it. Rather sneak up on it. I've got red on the other side too, so I'm gonna try to get it right, but if I don't, I can always backfill the other side with a little bit of red. And a little bit more white because that didn't stand up quite as much as I wanted it to. Again, I'd rather be on that side of the ball. I also pushed that out too far too. So we're going to have to fix that. That's better. Yeah, it's pushed out a little bit too far, but it still looks good. Oh, were we there yet? I got so distracted. No, you're fine, honey. I just can't see I wasn't really paying attention to the comments. I was doing nuts. I think what we're going to do, since we basically finished the dipstick, we actually did something. I think what we're going to do, because I don't want to push my luck here with El Stomata, my stomach. I think we're going to give away the painting, and then I'm probably going to call it. So that'll give me time to get the Jaguar up in case, you know, the winner doesn't get it or doesn't want it. Don't forget, while I'm thinking of it, summer 25 is your code. Please, please, please take advantage of it. It works as many times as you place an order too. There's no limit to that. So if you place an order today and you realize you forgot something, just use the code again. It's not a one-time thing. And again, if you have friends and family that you think might want a piece of art, and now's the time, pass that code on. It works for everyone. You guys got it early. You guys got it a little bit early. I told you about it last week. And if you're on the mailing list, you always get those codes early. They got it even before you guys did. So if I would encourage you to jump on and sign up for my mailing list, I promise you I will not spam you like a used Windows salesman. So yeah, so that's what it looks like. And this is what I'm talking about. So you're going to have this, well, you saw the reference photo. I'll show you one more time. So you get this, it's a bright red car, but again, because it's, you know, the front end of it is in shadow, it takes on a real maroon color, which is, again, it's supposed to go with that other painting. But what's nice is, you know, you get the sky and you get the fender, and it's really cool. There's lots of colors going on there, but then you have this little shock of yellow in the middle of it. So that makes it a lot of fun, and that's what we got. So this will be good. This will be good. It's so funny because I've got almost all the hard parts done. You know, once I get the motor done and the wheel is already done because I did that with you guys, the rest of it's going to fly. Just a quick note, because I don't know if I will be doing this again with you guys. The big question is the body of this thing. I can't use a handheld template to do that. So if I cut out the body of the car, you know, and even if I put magnets on the headlights and on the directionals and the wheel and stuff, that's such a big area, and I couldn't use enough magnets to hold it down without getting paint underneath. So for this painting, what I will do, when I get the, I'll probably do the wheel, the tire, and the ground, and basically everything but the body, including the headlights. Once all that's done, I will clear it with Autoborn Sealer 6000. I'll put about 2 or 3 coats on it, and then let that cure for like 3 or 4 days. When I'm done with that, then I'll be able to mask off all the background. And yeah, I'll use the same technique, although I'll use a bigger piece of mask. So I'll spray it on, cut it out, and then adhere it on here so it lines up right. Or I may take a chance and just cut it out on the board. Yeah, we'll see. But that's what's going on with this. So hopefully I'll get back to this one. But for now, let's give away some stuff. We have 7 wonderful people on the list. As soon as I can find said list. And again, if you missed it in the beginning, we have Ian Hart's Jaguar E-Type. Now I did plan on doing 3 543s. Where's my pile? I don't even know if I have my pile here. Anyway, I even have the copies printed out and everything, so I might be able to get to them for next week. So we may see the other 2 for this week next week. All right, but for now, here's what we got. It's kind of dark, but you get the idea. Number 1 is Mr. Ian Hart. So there's your 7 for tonight. Hopefully your number comes up, whoever you may be. Let me jump to this real quick, and this real quick, and this real quick, and now you guys can see it. So 7 is our number. Number 6. Do we remember who it is? I do, because I looked. Patty C is our winner tonight. So Patty went on a massive winning streak last year, and also won some other stuff too, but she's back on the list, so congratulations, Patty. Yay. I don't know if I saw Patty, but I will get a hold of her and find out what she wants to do. And, other than that, like I said, I don't think Patty's here, so this one will go up. Ooh, this one. This one will go up on the website. Just give me about 10 or 15 minutes to get on the site, and that will be good. So yeah, so the list is only 7. So again, if you haven't won yet, please jump on and give me your suggestions before we leave. Sorry about all the lights and everything, but there we go. All right. So thank you very much for hanging out with me, your favorite dipstick. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great week. Be good to one another. Stay good. And I will catch you guys all next week. Have a great night. You guys get to look at the Corvette on the way out.